Welcome back to What the Hype. 'Tis the season to be jolly and merry and also to bust out all of your favorite holiday and Christmas movies. And we would be remiss not to celebrate those because we all watch them. So this week, we're going to take a little walk down memory lane and tell you all about our favorites and maybe talk about some of our newer entries into the lineup when we get around to binging these holiday classics. And it should be a pretty fun episode. So my name is Pam and I'll be your host. And we have the full panel here today, which is very exciting. Very rare that we all hop on an episode.
We have a special
guest, Santa.
yes, hello everyone. I was complimenting this panel on being nice all year. They've all made my nice list. Surprisingly to them. But
yeah, I was shocked.
One thing I did not explain when I said that is that more people than ever are making the naughty list, and that is pushing everyone else to the nice side.
Oh, well, that does not surprise me.
Okay, so we're nice on a technicality.
That's what's happening. Exactly. Yes. Some people who've always made my naughty list have made I'm going to have to come up with a new special extra naughty list.
We look like angels compared to these other really, really naughty people.
It's true. Technically, Mrs. Claus has the extra naughty list, but, this is something different that I need to develop.
I bet she's on the extra naughty list. Your personal extra naughty list. Ya horn dog.
I am so excited to talk about Christmas movies. If you couldn't tell, I'm very happy.
Well, getting back to lighter affairs here, we did mention we wanted to talk about Christmas movies or maybe even holiday television shows. If you all have some of those that you like to tune into, feel free to toss those out during this discussion. But to kick things off, do we usually tend to start watching these around Thanksgiving to get into the holiday spirit? Is that something that kind of helps us get into the mood to celebrate in December?
I feel right around the time when I'm finished eating the Thanksgiving meal and done what I can in the kitchen to help clean up, there's always that period of relaxation, often on a couch, often in front of a television. And what better a time than to watch that season's first Christmas movie of the year? I don't have a specific tradition for what film it is, but it feels like after we've digested a little bit, we all convene around the television, and odds are one of the all-time classics is coming on or is already on cable TV.
Yeah, I definitely share a similar memory, especially from growing up when we would all be in our food comas after turkey. We usually found ourselves sitting around the TV and any number of classic Christmas movies would come on. And that really did feel like the unofficial start of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is a post-Thanksgiving thing for me as well, even though we put up the Christmas decorations early this year. And in preparation for today's episode, we're recording on November 25th. Last night, I watched a new Christmas movie, which we'll get to in a little bit. Let's just say it kicked off, it ruined my holiday season. It was terrible.
You watched a movie that you haven't seen before, Andrew?
A brand new one. No, brand new one, though. So it's not that big of a deal. I'll get into it later, though. But yeah, it is a perfect way to kick off the official start to the Christmas season post Thanksgiving dinner.
The only thing that threatens to supplant this wonderful tradition that it seems like many of us share is the fact that earlier in the year now, Christmas music and Christmas decorations at Costco are coming out at September. And I feel like that is encroaching on the otherwise no, at least wait till Thanksgiving to do Christmas.
Santa, that just means more pocket money for you.
I don't think Santa gets a cut of the lights at Costco.
That's true. That would be very funny, actually.
You know what, though? I'm glad to hear that Santa is not submitting to late stage capitalism like that. I think it's something to really be admired. So thank you, Santa.
Yes, submitting to late stage capitalism makes you age faster. And I don't need that.
You're timeless, Santa.
Oh, thank you, Micah. You're going on the naughty list. You were the one I wasn't sure about.
Well, I do agree, though. I think for many years now, the goalposts have been shifting on when is considered an acceptable time to start decorating and celebrating for the Christmas season. To be honest, a lot of it starts right after Halloween's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
I
true.
think that also, I was thinking about this. I feel like that makes sense for like the rest of the world because not everybody has Thanksgiving smack dab in the middle of those two holidays, so you hear about like, I have some friends in Europe and like the Christmas markets are already coming up early November. It's like, that makes sense because y'all don't celebrate Thanksgiving, so who are we to say when you should
Right.
start celebrating Christmas?
And what is Thanksgiving really?
Really, it's just
Right.
weather getting colder, time to celebrate holidays.
For sure. Well, Andrew, you brought up binging something new that you're going to tell us about a little bit later. But I think that for most people, they kind of kick off the Christmas movie binge by rewatching something old. And I
Yeah.
wanted to know what brings you all back to some of these titles that you've maybe been watching for decades at this point, because for me, I know it's definitely just like a mix of tradition and also just like good childhood memories. I remember having fun watching some of these movies with like my siblings, and they're still kind of funny, maybe because they were always funny, and you kind of revert back to like that childlike mentality when you're tuning into them, even as an adult.
Yeah, it is those memories, and it is to evoke those feelings that we experienced when we were younger. And some of these movies are so good at just leaning into the Christmas feels, if you will, that you try to experience that year to year so you can keep all of your traditions and feelings alive. Because, I mean, for a lot of us, the holidays are the time of year we really love and we want to cherish, and we want to get that same experience and feeling that we remember from when we were kids, because the rest of the year can feel so blah for a variety of reasons. So, yeah, I think there's just those certain movies that kind of unlock those feelings for us still, hopefully.
That's a great point. Yeah, the traditions of Christmas itself lend themselves well to, you're gathered around with the same people that you see every year. They're familiar to you. And so watching a movie that's familiar, where you're all around it, you've all seen it together and, multiple times, but there's always something new that comes out or something familiar that really tickles you.
Yeah, I plus one what Andrew said about just tradition and good childhood memories, and just going back to what you were saying before about how Christmas or the holiday season in general starts so early. I was driving earlier today, and already the station that I had turned on had the holiday music on. Now, that normally wouldn't happen until the day after Thanksgiving, but it's just wild to see. And then just being around New York City, the Christmas tree in Rockefeller Center is going up. It doesn't get officially lit until after Thanksgiving, but so many other places around the city are already dressed up for the holidays. And
the people want it. The people want the music. They can't wait until post Thanksgiving.
No. And what's funny is that when the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree gets transported into New York, it is escorted by the New York City Police Department blasting All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey.
No. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
See, it really, and Mariah has leaned into this in recent years. It's when she says it's the Christmas season that it is officially time. Right. Thank you, Pam.
There's that meme of Mariah frozen, and it's like she has to thaw now,
Yeah.
It's not just a meme. I mean, she's like filmed this at this point.
Stronger.
Oh, oh, wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that song is very controversial.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of the memes, and I mean, it's tongue-in-cheek controversial, I guess I should say. There are a lot of memes and people have a lot of reactions around that song because they get so tired of hearing it this time of year.
Visceral. But what's not to love, honestly? That is a song I feel like I haven't hit my limit on listening to. It's not near as controversial as like Baby It's Cold Outside, though. So as far as Christmas carols go, I still think it's safe.
Well, I'm glad you brought up controversial, because I did also want to ask if like there have been any times when we've kind of circled back to movies we remember watching when we were younger, and we just kind of feel like, oh, this doesn't hold up anymore for me, so maybe I'll just quietly delete it from my lineup. Like, I was so scared to rewatch Miracle on 34th Street last year, the one with Mara Wilson from the 90s, because I hadn't seen it in like maybe 10 years or longer.
Yeah.
But that one was still good. And so it was like a nice,
Oh.
pleasant surprise. But I know that's not always the case. So is there a title that you all just have quietly nixed out of your Christmas movie marathons?
I feel like most things from the 80s don't generally age well.
Not even a Christmas Story, the 24-hour marathon.
Yeah.
Every year.
At this point, they're just leaning into it. Yeah.
There's probably a few things in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation that we can point to that probably haven't aged all that well over time.
The one that I've quietly nixed is Scrooged.
Really?
With Bill Murray,
there's actually a decreasing return on investment on watching Scrooged for me. I enjoy it less each time I see it. I don't know.
That's too bad.
It might just be fatigue with Bill Murray and his humor, but I don't know. Something about it just feels a little, maybe like it's depressing because I want Karen Allen to have all the great things in the world. So I don't know.
Anyone else?
To be honest with you, I can't think of any holiday movies that I've had to retire. That's not to say that some of my favorites don't have their issues, because if you take classic holiday movies over time, there are going to be aspects of them that do not age well. But I don't personally feel like that takes away from the overall spirit of the movie and its intentions based on the time that it came out. I'll still criticize the hell out of it for being dated in the ways that it is dated. And I'm sure we're going to talk about some examples here. But I haven't had anything push me to the point of retiring it. No.
Yeah, I feel you. There, like, I think that you can say the same with like any media, especially like if you look at rom-coms from the 90s, for example, also fairly controversial, but like you can still enjoy them, understanding that like a movie like that can get made in 2024, and it's kind of like a product of its time. So when do we usually watch these movies? Like, do y'all have a specific tradition around that? Like, I know that when I'm baking Christmas cookies, I like to watch the claymations because I don't have to pay too much attention. And they're a lot shorter than I remember them being. So I can just like line them all up and, you know, watch like Rudolph, Year Without a Santa Claus, etc. as I'm baking up a storm.
There's a few of those windows, right? There's the decorating the tree, which takes a couple hours. There's any cookies, wrapping presents. There are these idle activities that really lend themselves well to Christmas movie watching.
Yeah, I also think just any Saturday or Sunday night, if you're looking to have a night in around this time of year, it's always good. And of course, the most perfect situation. Well, yeah, along those lines, the fire's going, but also maybe it's snowing outside, and you want to feel extra cozy, so you turn on one of your favorite Christmas movies. Hey, it snows up in the mountains, so I can see it.
Well, just like Christmas music doesn't totally go away throughout the year, you can always find it on Spotify. I feel like, you know, Christmas movies are all of a sudden just in your repertoire of what you could choose to watch. You give yourself permission to, okay, I'll turn that on, you know, whereas before, even if you owned the DVD, you wouldn't put it in the player.
Yeah, much like how around Halloween season, Hocus Pocus and other movies are always on. I feel as if Elf, Home Alone, the Santa Claus are always somewhere on TV. And so, you know, maybe if you have a rough day and you're having trouble falling to sleep, you can find one of those movies, and they tend to just be very comforting movies from your childhood that you can go back to and just kind of zone out. Maybe they help you out a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. Santa already told us about his naughty and nice list, but we're going to let him check it twice, and we'll be right back
please
after
do,
that.
Santa.
Oh, gotta check this. And we're back. Micah, I said you were on the naughty list. You're on the nice list. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
There was an accounting error.
I prefer the naughty list.
All right. Well, we've talked a little bit about like the specific scenarios in which these movies comes up, but let's get a little bit more specific here. What are some of our can't miss, must watch titles every year? I know for me, like it always has to be the Home Alones, and Usually if I watch them like without certain siblings, they get mad. This is what happens when you come from a big family. They're like, you started watching that without me. How dare?
I love that. Tradition.
Exactly.
I like how you said certain siblings. Name names, Pam. Drag them under the bus.
Oh man,
I'm
through
kidding.
the
Santa's
coals.
here.
Last year I posted on my Instagram stories about watching, I think it was Home Alone 2, and my brother Sergio, he responded back to my Instagram story, didn't even like bother to text me, and he's like, you're dead to me because we were supposed to watch that together.
Oh my God.
So
and you were
that was
like,
pretty
great,
funny.
I'm going to return your Christmas present then.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's like, how dead do you want me to be?
All the ones mentioned so far definitely get watched each year, but if I had to pare it down to like the one that gets me into it, Muppet Christmas Carol. 100%.
That's a good one.
Just a phenomenal film with Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge. Kermit the Frog is Bob Cratchit. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
For me, my number one is the Santa Claus, and the first one specifically. The sequel and threequel are okay, and I like that there's a TV show now on Disney Plus as well. I think there's 2 seasons so far. But yeah, that one, we were talking earlier about, evoking those Christmas feels. The Santa Claus gives me those Christmas feels, especially by the end of it.
Mm-hmm. There's something about it. That was one I watched a lot as a kid too, and it just mesmerizes. I think as a kid, it sparks your imagination of like, I think it's the best depiction of the North Pole. Definitely my favorite.
That's an interesting point. I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
For me, having grown up in the 80s mostly as a kid, I would say A Charlie Brown Christmas. Pam, you mentioned Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the stop animation version, Frosty the Snowman, but there is something that just draws me into National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And I think it's just the kind of wholesome family man that Clark Griswold is. And, at the beginning of the movie, he's taking his family out to cut down the Christmas tree. And of course, they get this huge Christmas tree that in no way possible is going to fit in their living room. But all the things that kind of follow suit to, when he's trying to get all the lights on the house to work, he doesn't get the Christmas bonus that he's looking for. There's just a lot of things that are very kind of reminiscent of growing up in that time. That's kind of nice to go back to.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
The thing with Christmas Vacation too, apart from being funny, everything that happens to him is funny. It really is a movie with a moral lesson of like change your expectations. Ultimately it's going to be about family.
Right.
The lights are never going to look as good as you think they will. The tree won't be perfect, but you have your family around you, and that's what matters. And I feel like all the best Christmas movies have that kind of a message.
Definitely.
Yeah. I've got a few that rank pretty highly for me. A Christmas Carol, of course, but the one with Patrick Stewart. It was the made-for-TV movie in 1999. I think I'm just attached to this because I saw it a lot as a kid. It was the first version of A Christmas Carol that I ever got to see. So I think it just stuck with me, but also I love a good ghost story, and that's really what A Christmas Carol is. Also A Christmas Story, which we talked about a couple of moments ago. This is a 1980s film, and it is about being a kid during the Christmas season in the 1940s. So there are definitely aspects of it that have not aged very well, but I think it perfectly captures the experience of the mystery and the drama and the magic that is the Christmas season when you're a little kid. So it always takes me back to that feeling when I watch it. Always got to give a good shout out to The Nightmare Before Christmas. It is a Halloween and a Christmas movie. I will die on that hill. Edward Scissorhands, another good one. And of course, this is Johnny Depp very early in his career. So different version of Johnny Depp than the one we know now. And then I've always had a soft spot for the animated version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
I like that one too.
Did you say How the Grinch Stole Christmas?
Yep.
with that,
Is he on the naughty
I'm
list?
going to reveal my other disguise.
Oh my gosh.
I was waiting for it to get mentioned. Also, I was dying in there. It's so hot right now.
I thought I
just
saw a little
got
green under there.
catfished.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
You're
me,
the
the Grinch.
You really
Another
deserve to be on the
special
naughty
guest.
list.
Humbug to Christmas. Wait, does Grinch say humbug? No, he doesn't.
No.
It's probably
Anyway.
too Christmassy of a word.
That's
The-
Cindy Lou Who.
The Grinch
Anyway.
is a fascinating one to me, both the live action and the animated, because it seems like it has experienced the second wind in recent years. Like you see all this Grinch
It's
merchandise.
because of the other one that they made where
The newer animated
Benedict
one.
Cumberbatch.
Oh.
Yeah, voices.
but
I hear that he's not like very Grinchy in that. And
I don't
my
think
sister was saying that it wasn't like it didn't feel like it was in the true spirit of the Grinch. And I was like, okay.
I don't think it's just because of that new movie. I think it's just experienced a cultural revival similar to how, and this is purely coincidental, but it's like how Shrek is still hot as ever. Another green guy.
Yeah.
People love the Grinch. Kids still love the Grinch. My nephews are obsessed with the Grinch. It's just, he's this very unique holiday character that is.
I think because not liking something is cool, right? It's cool not to like Christmas.
Yeah, and I
We
think
like a
adults love
redemptive
Grinch
arc.
too. Like you see people with Grinch shirts and stickers on their car. I don't know. People still have Grinch fever.
Can confirm.
What's not to love about a story about someone who goes from being a miserable being to be around to all of a sudden having a love for the season in their hearts? Like,
True.
I think there's something really heartwarming about that, but also the Grinch is so delightfully curmudgeonly that I just really enjoy his character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the animated one that I know Laura just mentioned. I also really like the 2000 live action with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
That's one
Mhm.
that I'll watch every year.
Yeah. Ron
I
Howard
just
directed
think-
that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and like that's another example of how you guys are saying like that the Santa Claus does the North Pole really well. That's another really good example of like a world that's just so colorful and fleshed out, and it gets brought to life really beautifully. It's a good like suspension of belief kind of
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. There was a period of 10 years where they did fantasy and they just put a lot of time and effort into everything presentation.
Mhm.
Before it became too easy to do it on the computer, they really spent a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Elf does that too with the North
Yeah.
Pole.
That's another
Elf,
good
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
I know
that's
some people are sick of that. You guys are Elf fans.
Nah,
Well-
not sick of it.
there is something about including New York City in holiday movies, and Elf obviously does that. Home Alone 2 does that. I'm curious, Pam, you talked a little bit about the Home Alones being some of your favorites. Do you like the original more? Do you like the second one more? Is it a toss up?
I know. I specifically like the second one more because it gets bonus points for being set in the backdrop of New York City, which is especially magical during Christmas. Like if you can't actually go to the North Pole, I think that like the pomp and circumstance of the season in New York is probably like a better, like not a better, like a good second alternative. You know, like you want to be in a city that is that excited. For
I mean,
the
people
season.
know Rockefeller. People know
Yeah,
the
exactly.
tradition and the like, and that's what I think more than any other. That city represents Christmas, and that's possibly why it's such a big.
Right. It's like they've got the largest tree, you know, like
yeah,
they really do it up big. So
And who as a kid would not want to be set up in the Plaza Hotel, just
Yeah.
kicking their
Or,
feet
like,
up?
just
Mhm.
down the street from Duncan's Toy Chest. Yeah, absolutely.
and I was
I'm
just
still
going to
mad at
say,
that.
like, not FAO
Yeah.
Schwartz.
Oh, that's
Gets to ride
my
a limo
one.
with his own cheese pizza.
Oh my
He's
god,
living
it
the
looks so
dream.
good. No, I'm so glad I got to go to FAO Schwartz maybe once before it actually like closed
Yeah.
down. Some of the earliest days in New York for podcasting. Managed to stop over there.
We used to have a huge FAO Schwartz in San Francisco. And every year my mom would take us after like the downtown area was decorated, and we would specifically go so we could see the Macy's windows, which would always be like decorated differently. and then FAO Schwartz, which would always decorate also for Christmas. So I think that that's part of like the magic of the season, especially for kids growing up in the 90s, you know?
Well, yeah, because you don't see those big toy stores anymore.
No.
We don't have
I
any
tried
of our
shopping
toy
for-
stores as kids.
I tried going shopping for my like my niece, and I'm just like, where do I buy toys that like I can actually see?
Yeah.
You know?
You can't go to Toys R Us. We used to have Zany Brainy in New Jersey, which I think was a chain.
KB,
That was a
KB
fantastic.
Toys
I
at the
love
mall.
Zany Brainy.
KB Toys, yeah.
KB Toys was huge. Yeah, I was always there.
Oh, that's right.
Well, while we're talking about Christmas movies nailing real life things, I want to shout out one of my favorites and one that I do deliberately watch, if not every year, every other year, Jingle All the Way. Arnold Schwarzenegger as a dad, Jake Lloyd, who is just trying to get him his favorite toy, but like anybody, waited to the last possible second. That film captures so much, I think, the consumerism aspect of Christmas, and I still find it very rewarding to watch and touching as well.
It's a good one. Sinbad's in that too, right?
Yeah.
Eric, you've inspired me. I haven't seen Jingle All the Way probably since the 90s, so I think I'll
put on
that
the
in
list.
the rotation.
I feel
this
as
year.
though it really still has something to say about those who take advantage, stores that may take advantage of customers' goodwill.
Isn't that also set in New York too? Did you mention that?
I think so.
I remember he like ends up in a parade. Spoilers.
Yeah, he ends up in a parade, which when
and
you think of
always
parades,
assumed it was like the Macy's Thanksgiving.
You tend to think of it. It's very like that.
Yeah.
No, it's shot really well. The budget is clear. I've always liked Schwarzenegger in a comedic role. I just think he crushes it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Phil Hartman was the douchey
and Phil
neighbor.
Hartman as the neighbor. Absolutely, just a lot of talent behind that film.
Turbo Man.
Turbo time.
Well, are there any holiday classics that we feel like we particularly haven't seen, but everyone else has? For the longest time, mine was A Christmas Story, but I rectified that finally last year. But I've also never seen It's a Wonderful Life. And I know that's like the one that some people watch every year, even though it's really depressing. So.
Yeah, that one may surprise you. I saw that recently too, and liked it a lot. And it wasn't at all what I was expecting, knowing that it's a traditionally Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm sure I've seen A Christmas Story, but I don't remember any bit of it, so I'm due for a rewatch. It's the kind of thing where I've been intimidated to watch it since coming of age because, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this classic. So I haven't taken the time.
I think you'll enjoy it. There's enough humor in there for the parents or for people of parental age as we all are now, that you'll still be able to enjoy it. To me, it still makes me think of like the whimsy and the magic of being a kid at that point in time. Yeah.
I like that.
Similar to Jingle All the Way. His like whole thing is like, I want this specific toy for Christmas.
Yeah. The Red Ryder BB gun.
Yes. The Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah.
So A Christmas Story, the big thing about A Christmas Story was that TBS was doing a like 24-hour marathon on Christmas Day, I think starting Christmas Eve. So we would watch that at my grandparents' house every Christmas Day when we went over for the annual Christmas party. So I've seen that one probably more than any other Christmas movie. And that's one of my own Christmas traditions, I would say, too.
Oh, that's nice. Have you seen the sequel? Has anybody who's seen it seen the recent sequel that they did?
That's
for
on Max. I mean, I guess it's cool that they did it. And actually, there was A Christmas Story 2 that came out in 2012. And then, Eric, like you were saying, there was one that came out in 2022. Oh, and that one's called A Christmas Story Christmas.
Okay.
And I think that one's more of a direct continuation than A Christmas Story 2.
I think with much of the cast returning, and that's why I would be curious to see, how that does or doesn't hold up. I can always IMDb it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I was just going to look on Metacritic. So it's got a 55 on Metacritic. So
is that high or low?
Meh, out of 100.
Well, and it's got to be hard
rated
to recreate the Christmas magic of a Christmas movie. Sequels to Christmas movies.
Yeah.
The bar is so high, especially
tough.
for a movie like A Christmas Story.
Well, for how cookie cutter, to use a phrase, that they all are, or the shades of some of the same themes, the bar is even higher to duplicate like your own work.
So my mom got a leg lamp replica of the leg lamp from A Christmas Story, and she
through Sky Mall.
she puts it up in the front window every year.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, I love that.
It's one of those, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
And if not, it's still a lamp. It'll still bring light.
Right.
And creep people out who don't know why that is sitting there.
I mean, it's a good looking leg.
It's their fault. They don't know.
For me, I haven't seen Love Actually. Pam, did we make a deal last year where I would watch Love Actually?
We did.
And you would watch A Christmas Story?
You did, yeah. You promised and you broke that promise.
Like
I know,
I
I'm
did not
sorry.
break
Your
that
end of the
promise.
bargain.
But so
Put him on the naughty list, Eric.
I tried to watch Love Actually last night in anticipation of today's episode, but then Pat said, no, I want to watch Hot Frosty, the new Netflix movie.
Not Hot Frosty. I also watched Hot Frosty.
It's so bad. So
what is it
bad.
about?
It's about a Frosty the Snowman who turns into a human because of this girl who does the girl like blow a kiss at him or something
She
before
gives
he
him a
transforms?
scarf. She's like, you look
Oh
cold.
my God, I've
He's
seen
like
the ad for this.
Yeah.
It looks incredible. It was
Is it
bad.
a cartoon?
No, it's
No,
live action starring
It's
Dustin.
like so bad it's maybe good.
Yes, I agree with that. And it's doing well on Netflix, it seems like. It was in the Netflix top 10 last night. But it stars Dustin Milligan, who a lot of people will recognize from Schitt's Creek. And he was good in that show. He is so bad in this movie. The acting is just miserable. And I'm realizing now his acting actually wasn't good in Schitt's Creek. It just, the role worked for his bad acting skills. He's just like awkward, cute,
Sometimes
cutesy
it
awkward.
plays out like that.
Andrew,
Yeah.
Santa Claus says you have to see Love Actually this year.
So now I'm thinking, so I did try. Okay. I tried last night. So I'm thinking I'm going to be flying a lot around the holidays. Maybe this will finally, that'll be my opportunity. I'll do it before that. I'll do it before
It's a good watching during a plane type movie, actually.
Yeah, I mean there is the whole there's a lot of nudity in some parts.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to watch that on a plane or if the version you
my
get
eyes
on a
parts
plane.
with Bilbo Baggins.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's true.
That actor.
Morgan.
Oh, that's
Morgan
right.
Freeman is
That's
Martin
right.
Freeman. Thank you, Pam. I was blanking on his name.
I totally forgot about that. I was like, wait, I'm thinking about boobies, and Eric just mentioned Bilbo Baggins.
He's got boobies too.
But anyway, I don't know that you would get like the full version of it on a plane. You might get a censored version.
All right.
So
I'll watch it at home.
I
There
mean,
you
look
go.
at this. You have Trelawney, you have Snape, you have Aslan.
I know.
I'm
yeah,
gonna
a lot of
text
Harry
Pat
Potter
right now and
in
tell
there.
him that he's got to let you watch it.
My movie, similar to what Pam said, is It's a Wonderful Life. For all the times it's been on every single year, NBC at Christmas Eve, I just can't sit through it. Maybe I'll just need to get it without the commercials and try it. Maybe that's on my list now, similar to you, Andrew, with Love Actually. But I feel like it's such a classic. You have to watch it at some point. But also I'm Jewish, so
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life either. But to differentiate myself, I also went with White Christmas. That's another classic that I've never seen. And I don't know if it's just because older people in my family really like it, and so they'll bring it up. I don't know if y'all have ever had anyone bring this one up to you.
This was one that was a tradition with a previous partner of mine. And so we would watch it. And now I have seen White Christmas. And also the one that I like even better is called Holiday Inn. And it's very similar. Some of the same actors, dancing, singing, old Hollywood. It's really, really good. I would recommend Holiday Inn for a classic.
Okay.
Well, we're going to keep talking Christmas classics in a little bit, but first we're going to take another break to make sure that our Christmas lights stay on for the rest of the season. All right. So, what about movies that aren't technically Christmas movies, but sort of fit the vibe? I feel like we all kind of have these. There's the age old debate of whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Some people love to binge the Harry Potter movies for Christmas as well. You'll catch marathons like that on TV around the holidays.
So, one movie that came to mind for me was Gremlins, because pretty much all of it takes place on Christmas Eve.
Then I'd say that counts.
Do y'all ever feel like sometimes a movie can have Christmas vibes just based on when it comes out? Like, I know sometimes movies will come out in November, December, and they're not necessarily Christmas themed movies, but something about the spirit of the movie fits with the season.
Like any major Hollywood musical.
Is
like holiday.
Wicked.
Yeah, exactly.
For example.
And our memories of seeing these movies are tied around the holidays. Maybe even the movie theaters decked out for Christmas, which will, and the commercials that you're seeing before the movie starts, the Coca-Cola Christmas commercial. Like there's other ways that make it feel like a Christmas movie too, or a holiday movie.
Yeah, in Christmas 2005, I went by myself to see Catch Me If You Can with Tom Hanks and Leo DiCaprio. And there is Christmas in that movie a little bit as a touchstone throughout different years that the movie spans, but it's not a Christmas movie otherwise.
Well, Christmas is kind of important, though, to the end of the movie.
It's when he's finally caught, right?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
But the Chronicles of Narnia, too, at least the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, to me, has that kind of vibe to it. I know Father Christmas is in...
Father Christmas is a character in that, but
in the film.
He is, yeah.
But you could probably extend that out to some of the other films that have been created in that series as well. I know we talked about Harry Potter, too. What's our sense there? Is it really just the first two movies? I know we'll get movie marathons, but...
Yeah, it's the Christmas scenes that they have. They make you feel all warm and fuzzy. And then, of course, the Harry Potter movies are quite often set around winter at some point. We see that in Half-Blood Prince, I know. There's snow, at least one snow
It's
scene.
the warm, candlelit glow of Hogwarts in the first two movies specifically that makes them feel, and knowing that the director was the director of Home Alone 1 and 2.
I was just going to say the same thing. He knows how to do the Christmas.
That man can film Christmas even when he's not trying to. There's something about it.
And the first two movies came out in November. So I'm sure many of us saw it around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I actually heard someone describe the first couple of Harry Potter movies as twinkly. And I was like, oh, that's actually a really good description for those movies and why it feels like they fit. The heavy Christmas visuals notwithstanding, I mean, those movies spend quite a bit of time on Christmas, but in general, I think, again, they capture that magical feeling that we're looking for that time of year.
It's like an emotional Christmas vibe. You know,
I would say the Paddington movies too. Similar vibe. Yeah. They're about to come out with a third one, but the first two are, those are great holiday watches as well. I think anything found family that kind of gives you like that adjacent warmth too is a good one to toss on during the holidays as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you touched on sort of thematics, Pam, too, like themes like found family. One of my strongest reasons for saying that Die Hard is a Christmas movie is because it is about an estranged relationship between a husband and wife. And he's trying to get her back, show that he can be, supportive of her, and all that on top of an actual office Christmas party. So I think thematically, there are many elements that work. It's not just a movie set at Christmas. I think part of what we're saying makes movies like Harry Potter also Christmas movies is that twinkle, is that kind of general good feeling where you feel warmer after watching them, which is why we light a fire to begin with.
Well, we've reminisced on some old classics, but how about any newer entries? Like anything that's come out, I would say, like within like the last 20 years or so.
That's a good. I thought that any movie would not be able to touch the archive of classic Christmas movies. And then Elf happened. So ever since Elf, and that's like early thousands, but I was like, oh, this is a certified gold Christmas classic. I guess they can still actually make these. And I have not had an opinion on Christmas movies ever since.
That's a great example of what I would consider a new classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I saw this point brought up within the last couple of years, I think. Hollywood would never take a risk on an Elf type movie now. They are way too dependent on the existing franchises and all that to really try something as original of an idea as Elf, at least for a theatrical release. We see the streamers taking a lot of swings at Christmas movies, but Elf just, unfortunately, we might never see a modern Christmas classic again, which is kind of sad and sounds extreme, but that's where Hollywood is, at least for the foreseeable future.
I'm trying to think, because I've seen a couple of like, it's hard to guess at what level these films are aspiring to, but all the Hallmark Christmas movies that come out, and there's maybe like 2 dozen every year, different leads. I did see that Emilia Clarke movie Last Christmas, which is not as joyous as I was expecting, but is definitely a very firm entry in Christmas movies.
Were there dragons?
Yeah, they're still having like attempts, I guess, be made for a new go-to Christmas film.
Yeah. So
which
this
is
one,
interesting.
did this hit theaters? I see it's on Max.
It did.
It did go to theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, you kind of get I mean, now it's like Christmas romance as like a subgenre. The one that I saw and liked of this genre is A Castle for Christmas, which is Carrie Elwes and
Brooke Shields.
Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
And I liked that one. I saw another one with Lindsay Lohan.
That's a whole, by the way, like a whole subgenre of the subgenre of Christmas rom-com is like royal Christmas rom-com. There's always like a dozen, like Prince for Christmas, Princess for Christmas,
and they all star Lacey Chabert, or at least half of them do.
Quite a lot of them do. Good for her.
Yeah.
Didn't we on Millennial? Didn't we do the Princess Switch? Yeah.
Yes, we
did a commentary on that.
Yeah, which was cute.
For me, these aren't theatrical releases, but the Christmas Chronicles on Netflix.
That's a great one. I liked the first one.
I want to see that.
Yeah, and like Pam alluded to, there was a sequel, and that one was really bad. But Santa's played by Kurt Russell in these movies.
Yeah,
and it's a Save Christmas type of movie. It was fun. And then another one that's relatively recent. It came out on Hulu. It was called Happiest Season. It stars Kristen Stewart. She wants to propose to her girlfriend during a visit to the girlfriend's family for Christmas. It's a good like family holiday dramedy, and it was really good, I thought. And it's actually pretty rare to see LGBTQ people in Christmas movies. Definitely not on Hallmark, for example. So it was a good one. I'd recommend that one for sure.
Yeah. Netflix also has Single All the Way.
Ooh.
I think that's their like gay rom-com that came out last year. That one was really cute.
Oh, I think I saw
a little
this.
less depressing than Happiest Season. So if you're looking for something lighter this year,
I looked it up, the Lindsay Lohan film Falling for Christmas. 2022. I didn't hate it. I thought it was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone here ever watch Happy? I think it's on
Happy
Netflix.
Oh,
no, just
movie.
Happy.
Is that a foreign film?
No. So it's starring Christopher Maloney, and the whole premise of the first season anyway is that he's not okay. He's definitely been like imbibing various substances, and he is mentally addled. And he can then see and speak to his daughter's imaginary friend, who is this unicorn called Happy. It is like a dark comedy that takes place during the holiday season. So if you're into stuff that is like slightly warped, that could be something that
I like Christopher Maloney. I will say the
Yeah.
latest, even though I think, Andrew, you're right that studios aren't taking a risk on a brand new inventive Christmas movie. The genre that seems to be rapidly expanding apart from Christmas romance is Christmas horror.
Yep.
You see a lot more of the Krampuses, and the one I really loved is with David Harbour as Santa Claus. It's called Violent Night.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
It was really good.
One of my favorite Christmas movies, but it's horror. It's or at least violent, as the title would imply, like
Is
a
that
thriller.
what's been giving way to like this year we have Red One, which is also kind of like an action Christmas movie. I
Yeah,
think
because
that's
it
what
is
it's
more
called with The
actiony in
Rock
the
and
end, but
Chris
then ones
Evans.
like Krampus are just meant to like scare you.
Right,
But,
exactly.
Yeah.
One
A
of the
little bit
ones
grittier.
that I found on Netflix a couple of years ago was A Boy Called Christmas. Have any of you seen it?
Mm-mm.
It's got a pretty interesting cast. Maggie Smith is in it. Jim Broadbent, Toby Jones, who of
Wow.
course voiced Dobby, and it reminded me a lot of the Chronicles of Narnia. It has that same kind of mystical vibe to it. It's basically about a boy who's in search of his father, and you're along the journey with him. His little mouse companion reminds me very much of Reepicheep from when does he make an appearance in Chronicles of Narnia?
Dawn Treader, I think.
Dawn Treader.
Or no, Caspian.
Or no, Prince Caspian. Yeah.
Caspian,
so
yeah.
it's a cool movie. I think folks on this panel would definitely like it, as well as probably a lot of people who listen to us that also listen to Mugglecast.
Yeah, I've seen that. It was good. It was different than what I was expecting. But I'm glad you brought up Netflix. I know we've tossed out a few Netflix titles, but Hollywood might not really be getting into the game of putting out Christmas movies on the big screen, but there's a huge market for made for TV movies, as we've kind of touched on a little bit. This was kind of really ushered in by the Hallmark Channel, which has been doing Christmas originals for years and years and years. And then I think right around the pandemic, we all decided that it wasn't going to be a dirty little secret anymore that we all watch these. And so then they got like universally talked about. And now Netflix puts out its own slate of Christmas originals every year. They're all like kind of in the same cinematic universe, or at least some of them are too, which is kind of funny. So like you'll see references to like, say like, fictitious countries or like fictitious royals in other movies and stuff like that. So that's kind of fun to keep tabs on, even if, the movies are kind of cringy. But yeah, they also have a lot of these like family movies, like Micah was talking about A Boy Called Christmas. Andrew, you brought up Christmas Chronicles. Another good one that I watched a few years ago is Klaus. It was a CGI animated one. I don't know if you guys saw that. Yeah, that one was really good. It's about this this postman who is like bottom of his class, so they send him to what is the North Pole. Because he's so bad, and there he meets Klaus, who's like a mysterious toy maker, who's obviously Santa Claus.
Aww.
So,
That's
but yeah, it's
cool.
like so cute. So definitely like don't skip out on checking your streamers for Christmas content, because there's a lot of gems in there amongst some of the stuff that's maybe a little bit more cringy.
And I would like to amend my remarks on Hot Frosty while we're on the subject of streaming originals. I'm now looking at it on Rotten Tomatoes, and critics are surprisingly kind to the movie. They admit it is dumb, but it's good. Like Pam, you said, it's bad, it's good.
It knows what it is. Yeah.
Yes, I still found it a waste of 90 minutes, but maybe this is the type of movie more people are looking for than I realized. So I apologize to Hot Frosty.
It's like they also have this year, like, what is it, Merry Gentlemen? It's like the stripper holiday movie with Chad Michael Murray.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a new genre, too, right?
Yeah.
Like the stupidly hot, shirtless people.
Lifetime has Christmas in the Spotlight, which is like thinly veiled, not even thinly veiled, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce fan fiction.
That I would watch. That sounds like good trash.
There is a movie I loved growing up, I'm reminded of now. Jack Frost, the Michael Keaton movie. It's a family film.
Oh, yeah.
That is a good one.
He dies, but he is resurrected as a snowman the next Christmas. It's very good. It's streaming on, I think, Hulu at the moment. But yeah, that's worth at least one watch.
And
Yeah.
then, Andrew, you wanted to bring up a TV show.
Oh, I mentioned it earlier, so we can skip over it. The Santa Claus
I haven't
TV
seen
series.
the Santa Claus TV show. I did labor through the sequels and actually liked the third one, The Escape Clause. But I've not seen the TV show yet, so I'm interested.
Tim Allen also in the TV show?
He is, yeah.
And Elizabeth Mitchell, who played his wife.
It's cool.
Well, to wrap things up, I wanted to ask everyone here, what is your ultimate Christmas movie? I kind of already answered mine. It's Home Alone 2. I think it has everything.
Would you
Banging
say the second one
soundtrack,
over the first one?
good backdrop.
Pam? And
Yeah, I would. The second one specifically gets extra points because it's set in New York. And I think that adds to the magic of it. It's like what kid wouldn't want to be running around, doing whatever he wants in a big city.
Yeah.
For me, and listeners of MuggleCast are not going to be surprised to hear this, it's The Holiday. That's my favorite Christmas movie.
That's such a good one.
I think. Great rom-com. The music by Hans Zimmer. Directed by Nancy Meyers. Of course, she's a entertainment icon, but it stars Cameron Diaz, Jude Law, Kate Winslet, Jack Black. And it's kind of almost like a couple swap type thing that goes on during the movie. And again, such a it really... the way it captures the feelings of Christmas, I think, and just we were talking earlier about portraying the North Pole really well. I think this just captures the feeling of Christmas really well at home, the warm, cozy vibes you feel at home. I just love it. Very rewatchable to me. And Jack Black, who's normally like a nut job, is very calm, collected, and professional.
Very palatable, attractive even. Yes.
Wow. I didn't know you had a problem with Jack Black.
Oh, no, I love him. I love his crazy. I'm just saying it's like a whole different Jack Black in this movie.
Kate Winslet really brought him down to earth.
She fixed him.
For me, I've stated my reasons, but Die Hard's my favorite Christmas movie. And I'm not saying it to be contrarian. I genuinely believe it.
Yeah. For me, it's A Christmas Story. I feel like I made the case for it a couple of times throughout this episode, but anytime I see that, it just makes me excited for the time of year.
For me, I really want to give it to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but I feel like it needs to have an element of magic to it. And so I have to go with the Santa Claus.
Darn it, Mikey, you
one.
convinced me because Die Hard doesn't have magic. I'm going to go with Santa Claus as well.
And just this whole idea of, Tim Allen and his character, he has to really battle through his corporate job, and it completely changes who he is as a person and his connection to his kid. And yeah, so I have to give it to that.
All right. Well, that's the hype on Christmas movies. Thank you so much for listening this week. And we hope that you all have a great kickoff to your holiday season. Please follow us on all of our various social media handles. We're on Twitter. We're on Threads. We're on Instagram, probably soon to be on Blue Sky, but remains to be seen. And if you're checking us out over on YouTube, please like and subscribe because that really helps us out. And we'll see you all next week for a brand new episode.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.